We are now at Galway Mine. Galway Mine is one of only 2 show mines in Ireland where we can immerse ourselves into the geology, get underground and be within the rock itself. Where we are here is just west of Uachtarard, and that's at the eastern edge of the Connemara granite. We're in the Uachtarard granite, as it's called. Connemara is made up of a number of granite domes that were intruded as magma into the country rock, into the rock that was already in this part of the world about 460 million years ago. And during that process of the magma intruding into the rock, the mineralization took place and the galena was formed and the lead and silver mineralized within that material. So let's head in and meet Keith Geoghegan.
Hey Robbie, how are you?
Keith,
good to meet you.
Good
to see you.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah.
Where did you find that actually?
That came out of the mine. I have a bigger piece.
Right.
Big piece.
And is there still stuff like that in the mine?
I'll show it to you now though, yeah.
Right, okay.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
And when they left the mine, like, was all this pretty much exhausted?
No, it was still there, but I suppose the price of lead was dropping.
I can't wait to get underground to see this properly.
But that's enough of that. Come on, I'll take you down. I'll bring you down underground.
Great. So Keith, what are we looking at here? We've got a vein of a different type of rock, I think.
Yeah, so what we have here is marble on each side, and we have a vein of calcite, we have iron, we have pyrites, we have barytes, and we have little bits of lead and silver dotted amongst it. And it ran all the way out to the surface. And we think that this is the vein that went right to the surface. When the farmer was sowing crops and potatoes, they came across this vein and they found the lead and silver in the ground. And they probably found the heavy tumblers of lead like you had earlier, went to the landlord, showed him what they found, and he came and they open casted this part of the mine.
Okay. So the first part of the mine was actually open cast.
More than likely. A short trench. A short trench, yeah.
Okay. And eventually they obviously found more and more of the material.
Yeah. Well, as the vein was going here, it was going down deeper and deeper into the ground. So it wasn't a shallow vein running along the surface. It was going actually down into the ground. So the miners started to follow it, and that's where it started to go underground and develop into a mine.
Okay. And I'd imagine that's the way a lot of early mines basically started off. That you didn't know, like nowadays, that you have with drill holes and with various geophysical techniques, you know what you have at depth. They didn't have that.
No,
it was trial and error.
Yeah, they relied on the people who found it maybe on the mountainside where the rock was exposed. They found it, so you often found mines going into mountainsides more common. Mines in flat, low-lying areas like here were less common because the ground was covered with vegetation.
Yeah.
So it was only when they came across an outcrop and they could see it that they followed the veins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's a sometimes missed aspect of Ireland's mining heritage. There are mines dotted all over the country and they're all quite small.
All small, yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose small because there's no machinery. It was all by hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Today,
local enterprise.
Local enterprise, people. The landlord, if he was interested in it, had loads of people, loads of labour. Labour was cheap. I suppose knowledge. I'm a mining engineer. Captain Paul or Captain Tracy were the 2 mining engineers here.
Yeah.
They came here on request of the landlord, and eventually Hudson came here as a mining company and mined here in the mine.
Yeah, and I know that around the country there are mines that were open for maybe a very short time, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. This is actually one of the more long-lasting mines, I think. It had a 15-year lifespan here.
Yeah, not without its troubles. Not without its troubles, yeah. Opens and closes, probably the mineralisation prices. If the price went high, they came here and mined. Britain had enough of lead itself, except for when there was a threat of war or there was a huge demand. They came to these areas because they could mine it here cheaper with labour, and export it was the problem. So transport was what beat them. So once the price of lead dropped in the UK, these mines closed down.
And that was the end of the mining at Galway?
Yeah, that was the end of the mining in Galway in 1865. Okay.
So will we go down and have a look at some of the deeper stuff?
We keep going all the way down now.
Great. Keith, we've come well down into the mine now. How deep are we?
We're about 75 feet underground now, Robbie.
Okay.
And you're in the heart of Connemara.
Okay. And at this point in the mine, describe how the mine operated like. But the fact that we're that deep, How did they get air in?
Well, it's a typical Cornish style mine, and I suppose most mine engineers were trained in Cornwall, and the mine engineers that came here were Cornish engineers. So their practice of mining was a Cornish style, and they used to say no air, no mine. So you'll feel the airflow moving through here like a draft. So as they were mining in a certain style that caused that draft in the mine.
Okay, so that means like around the mine itself, there was a fairly intricate infrastructure that was actually running things as well.
Yeah.
So I know you've got shafts, you've got your 4 shafts, you've got your water wheel, you know, run outside, and I believe you've got a magazine up there as well.
Yeah, we have an old Cornish style powder house, gunpowder house or magazine. It was built to store the gunpowder.
Okay.
So they brought the gunpowder from the Ordnance Barracks in Updrard, and it had arrived there, and while there was a large amount of gunpowder there was always an armed guard. So there was always a guard to mind it.
And this was in the days before dynamite as well.
Yes,
It was
yes.
gunpowder, raw gunpowder.
Yeah, raw gunpowder, yeah, raw gunpowder.
So all of this, the gunpowder would have blasted all of this piece by piece as the mining operation continued.
They drilled it by hand. They drilled a hole about 2 feet deep at a grade of maybe 2 feet apart. 3 holes a day, 12 hours to drill 3 holes for 3 men. Filled it with gunpowder, lit their straw fuses, ran to the place of safety, and waited for the explosion.
Wow.
Yeah, and all this came out like that.
And how deep does it go?
We're about 2/3 of the way down, so we have probably another 40 feet to go.
Wow. So we looked earlier on at the galena and we felt how heavy it was, and it's full of lead and full of silver. We know there was pyrite as well within the rocks here. And what other byproducts were there?
Fluorite. Fluorite was also here in the mine, and I brought a piece here to show you. I'll just get it here. This is a piece of fluorite that was mined here, and it came out of the mine. You can hold it there, Robbie. Yeah, so this was famous. It's famous for its crystals, its octahedral shape, and its colour. It was mined here, but it was of no value to them. Maybe for a flux in the iron industry, but the lead and silver was the main metal they were here for in the mine.
Okay, and I can see in the fluorite there's actually flecks of copper pyrite, which is fool's gold, and it actually looks like gold.
Yeah, I'd say to the unaspiring person that would be the treasure.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah. So
and
it just shows you how it was formed millions and millions of years ago, 650 million years ago. You know, it's just.
And was this fairly common? Do you find pieces like this occasionally?
Yeah, on the lower part of the mine, it comes more common than this level of the mine. Up here, we'd find zinc, and we'd find lead and silver. You'd find a bit of barite, but from here on down, you start to find fluorite.
And it's fluorite. It is actually fluorescent. I can see the light reflecting within it.
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, this is a fabulous place, and I would encourage anybody, not just from Galway, but anywhere in Ireland, to come here, because this is part of our mining history, it's part of our heritage, it's part of our country, and we're in the earth here. You couldn't get more earthy than this.
No, and the feeling that's here, like to see how people actually lived and worked, that's when you really appreciate what you do yourself today and how handy we are.
You do. It's a fabulous, fabulous place. So thanks very much for that.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you very much.